Moving on to the Premier League, and match week 11 is in full focus already, gents. You can find all the previews, team news, stream links, and how to watch these games up on Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com. The big game is the game we have to start on when we're previewing this weekend. Tottenham against Arsenal, North London derby time. Spurs can go 11 points clear of Arsenal if they win. I'm just going to throw that out there. Just, take that, well, however way you want to take it. But I'm interested mostly to see how this tactical battle kind of evolves on the pitch, because Mourinho, we saw against Chelsea, we saw against Man City, he's quite happy to sit back, defend, and hit teams on the counter. And I think Arsenal also are very happy to do that under Mikel Arteta and sit back, defend deep. So are we going to see a boring 0-0, or are we going to see both teams perfecting that plan really well? And there's been a lot of draws between these sides, a lot of close, tight games. I'm interested to see just how this develops. And I think the best thing that neutrals can hope for in this match on Sunday at Tottenham is for there to be an early goal and it to open things up. So, Andy, I can see you nodding in appreciation. And what are you looking forward to in this game? I mean, who needs to win this game more early in the season? Because Tottenham are top, Arsenal are struggling. This is a big game for both teams.
Yeah, Arsenal need it far, 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 far worse than Spurs do. I mean, if Spurs don't win, then they might not be title contenders. They're still very much one of the four best teams in the Premier League this season. Inarguable point right there. Arsenal could find themselves, I mean, again, very, very much mid-table this season if they don't begin to pick up the pieces and put them together for this team. And I think the best way, at least for me, to look at this game and how Jose Mourinho is going to approach it is, I'll ask you guys a question. Do you look at Chelsea and facing them on the weekend and worry a little bit? Is there a little bit of fear if your team is having to play Chelsea on the weekend that you could get battered a little bit, that if you're not at your best, you will get beaten, right? Is that fair to say? Yeah. Is there the same sentiment with Arsenal, with them coming up on the weekend? There is not. And so there is no fear for Jose Mourinho going into this game. And I think that is going to be the determining factor in how he sets the team up. Against Chelsea, they're pretty good. They've got a ton of quality. And so he's set up in a certain way. I would think, you would hope at least, that he expects to go out on the field and dominate Arsenal this weekend. And so he sets the team up to operate as such, and that it's not super reactive and defensive the way it was against Chelsea this weekend. And I think that right there will do as much for kind of evolving the mentality of the Spurs team and giving them the belief that in their biggest game of the season, or one of them at least, that they're going to go out there and they're going to be the aggressors. They're going to be the dominant team. And they're not going to sit on the back foot the way they did against City. It worked, of course. The way they did against Chelsea, it kind of worked. But that they're really going to go out there and they're just going to try to beat Arsenal from the first minute.
Nick, do you think the ponies of Tottenham, does this kind of all come down to, like Andy said, their expectation? Is this the next step in their development to go out there and say, we're going to take it to Arsenal and we are going to go for the win here? We don't care about grinding out a 1-0 result or a 0-0 draw. I mean, is that the next step for this Spurs team?
Almost every time you ask that question, I would say yes, except there's the Thursday Europa League consideration that concerns me a little bit. That's such a challenge. I can't believe how well Spurs navigated that in September. And there's part of me, plus the cup games, there's part of me expecting some sort of regression at some point, not as quality of a team, but just legs and how that can go. Then again, Arsenal, 10 goals in 10 games, two of the leakiest chance conceding teams in the league, Leeds and Leicester, have put up clean sheets against Arsenal. So I hope somebody can give Mikel Arteta a back rub this week, maybe a full massage, because he seems like he's about to spontaneously combust, and I think he needs to relax a little bit, but it's going to be difficult for him. He's played in this fixture. He knows just how fun Sunday's going to be.
Yeah, he's quite a somber soul, I think. Arteta would be the best way to sum him up. I mean, even when...
Dark as his hair.
Yeah, when they win, he's kind of, he's never too happy. And after, the most recent defeat to Wolves, he's already being asked about his future and saying, I knew the day that I took the job that I would be fired or I'd leave soon, or, and it's just, just relax. You're still, less than 12 months into the job. Things aren't going well. But for me, the big thing here is it's the battle but it's a showdown between Harry Kane and Aubameyang. Which one of those strikers, number one, gets the most chances? I'm going to hazard a guess and say that Kane will get more chances. And then which one of those strikers can put them away? And they're big game players, both of them, especially Aubameyang. He's been so quiet all season, hasn't had a lot of chances, but this is exactly the type of game he will pop up, just like he did in the FA Cup run to win it last season, get a couple of goals, and then they'll be talking about him again.
Yeah.
Right, Andy?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And he is by nature, being a center forward, he's going to have streaks, good streaks and bad streaks. And obviously he's in the middle of a very, very poor one at the moment. But again, and this is something that I wrote in the recap of Arsenal's loss to Wolves, that contract. And we talked about this, I think at the very first one of these that we did. That's a big contract for a 31-year-old, will be 34 by the end of it, who's never been a chance creator, who requires a ton of service to get his chances and his goals. And he's playing in a team that there's no service whatsoever. And so he is just kind of out there on the field. He's just roaming around. He's never been much, had much of a defensive work rate. And so he's not contributing a ton in other ways until he starts scoring goals. Arsenal are almost playing with 10, maybe 10 and a half players on the field at a time because they kind of have to carry him at times. And if he's not able to manufacture chances for himself, I don't know where they come from in the rest of this team. And you also mentioned Arteta, kind of the somber tone. He's already embraced the Diego Simeone black on black on black outfit. I mean, dark times for Arsenal for sure. And his team kind of plays like Simeone's Atletico Madrid as well, don't they?
They do, and Arsenal need a big win at Tottenham to turn that mood around and try and get back on track this Sunday. So you can watch that 11:30 Eastern time across NBC Sports. Nick, moving on, Liverpool-Wolves is a game I know you've got your eye on. That should be an absolute beauty of a game on paper. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Wolves cope without Raul Jimenez. And Liverpool, we all know about Jurgen Klopp and his complaints about their injuries.
Yeah, I'm going to poke the bear, and you got to be careful with your finger because that bear has magnificent teeth. Jurgen Klopp, I don't know what's going on in this guy's head right now. I mean, he's a wonderful manager, a legend, a genius, and Liverpool still has looked for the most part pretty darn good. But Brighton performance aside, I'm curious as to whether he's having problems adapting to not having a target above him. This is the best his team has ever been. Going back to Borussia Dortmund, to Mainz, he has never been the front runner, and it almost feels like these mentality monsters have not had their mentality challenged, but what do we do now? I think the team has looked good, but some of these excuses, look, last weekend, let's be honest, I thought for as legendary as this guy is, I thought that interview was kind of embarrassing for him on a relative level, and bringing Chris Wilder into the criticism when the managers union, right? You're supposed to be supportive of your guys. And Klopp has always been the key to that. He would praise, he would talk about Steve Bruce, who we mentioned earlier as being some sort of tactical wizard who always has his teams lined up. So I wonder about his mindset. And I really am concerned a little bit about where Liverpool's camp is right now against a Wolves team that can get you. And it's going to have a little precocious 18-year-old up top, probably.
Definitely. Andy, Chelsea against Leeds is another game that should be an absolute belter. What are you looking forward to in that one?
Yeah, Nick, it's almost like Jurgen Klopp and other managers can be disingenuous at times and say things that they don't really mean, but for ulterior motives. Anyway, Leeds, they've been good away from home this year. 3 of their 4 wins on the season away from Elland Road. They've won 3 of their 5 away games now, and then they've kept a clean sheet, by the way, in all 3 of those wins. Now, the other 2, they've conceded a combined 8 goals to Liverpool and Crystal Palace. So it's going to be one of the 2 extremes, I think, at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge this weekend. But I really like just the work rate, the industry, and how they make it very difficult to play against. As a newly promoted team, if you can be difficult to play against, you're difficult to beat, and you will pick up results just by that fact alone. So I think every time they face even these big teams, I think they have a chance every time they take the field.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, fans are returned to the Premier League games this weekend. For the first time since March, they're going to have 2,000 fans at 5 different games across the weekend. So West Ham United against Manchester United is another game I'm looking forward to. Brighton against Southampton is sneaky good. 2 teams playing well down there on the South Coast. And Sheffield United, Leicester City. Let's see if the Blades can actually get a win And Leicester, for how well they played early in the season, they have had some shocking defeats, as we saw against Fulham last time out. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk and NBCSports.com for the latest team news, stream links, and everything else you need ahead of this weekend. And gents, all that's left for me to say, thanks for joining me for Pro Soccer Talk, and enjoy the games wherever you're watching from.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Make sure you subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and always join us every weekend at 7 a.m. on NBCSN for Premier League mornings. Plus, make sure you subscribe to Peacock Premium as well, where you can watch exclusively live 175 games and same-day on-demand replays of all 380 Premier League matches as well.